Testing. Are you getting audio in there, Kat? Yeah. Oh, he's got headphones on. Hello, we're live.
Hi.
We need to do a countdown so people know when it's coming, because otherwise people are like, oh, let's go make some tea. And then they hear us talking and they say, oh, we've got to get back there because we don't want to miss a moment
Of the riveting
conversation that's about to unfold.
So welcome to Century Guild Salon.
This is Chandra.
Hi.
Kat is on our chat today, and Brandon's doing our video. Let's talk books.
I'm ready, Sean. I'm ready.
Do you have a folder open with the images that you'll be able to get to? Do you know how to do it?
Yes. Kat gave me a wonderful lesson, so I definitely know how to do it without problem.
What are you doing? Window?
What image would you like to share?
I don't know. How many people are in now, Kat? Okay, we're getting up there. Well, so the main thing that we wanted to talk about, we were kind of the thing that prompted this is it's something that we've been wanting to do for over a year now, is this passport club idea, which is an idea that I got from the H.P. Lovecraft Society. Everything that they do is just beautiful. And they do kind of this passport club idea. And I had asked the designer there, Andrew, if we would be able to work something out for us to kind of use their idea and not have it be bad karma. And we did. They're wonderful people, and we both love what each other does. And so, Chandra, would you like to show them So the thing that we're starting is this this little club that is basically, we all kind of live on the internet more and more at this point. And a striptease is part of it. It was very warm when we were getting ready, and now under the lights, I don't know.
I was not prepared for that kind of broadcast.
No. But so, it's just, especially with the AI stuff and everything, just the idea of getting connected to each other was important to us and something we were thinking about. So this passport idea, do you want to put up just the image of the cover? Yes. Is what really started right there, passport full. Dun, da, da. So that's the design. It's based on a 19th century design. And what are you looking at? Oh, keep that up though.
It is that.
No, on the folder so we can see what we need to do.
Okay.
No.
I am.
It is. This is the Orchid Garden shirt.
Everything's fine.
Yes. And so the thing that we're going to do is make stamps and kind of have it be. We're going to run it through the Patreon if you've seen the email, just because that's a good platform to do it. And so I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to drive across the street here. And so we're going to be making these stamps for the inside based on our books. And if we do events, we'll have an ink stamp that's made for the event, things like that. And then inside we have, where's the share screen thing?
Under there.
Oh, you have to, do you have to do that?
Yeah, and then click present.
Oh, normally.
And then share screen. And then
here, you do it. I don't want to lean over that far. Just the one that's got the inside of the passport.
Right.
And so then the thing that we did on each of the pages is one of the Le Pater sigils and then a quote about literature being mind-opening gateways to other beautiful worlds. And so the thing that we figured we would talk about tonight is a couple of things. One is some of the 19th century books that we've owned and loved and been inspired by. And then some Kickstarters that we've supported in the past that we were really pleased with. There are two campaigns running right now that I'm really excited about. One is Black Letter Press has Foolish Fish. It's a collection of essays by Denis Poisson. I'm going to say that badly. And then the other is Skinner's got a stop motion movie up. Not related to books, but I love his books. But so those are two campaigns you should know about that are running this month. Do you want to show some of the 19th century stuff and we can talk about that a little bit? Just pick something and... Dun, 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 dun. Well, why don't we start with... Well, one of the things... So show the Book of Knowledge one.
Where?
Up.
This one?
No, the one that says Book of Knowledge. Go down.
Oh, the Book of Knowledge. Yes.
So one of the things that
that wasn't me. I didn't
one of
do
the
it.
things that always made a difference to me when I was learning how to relate to books is that if you go to a library book sale, or if you go to a thrift store, an estate sale, or things like that, is that you could find these books that had these really beautiful, beautiful bindings. And if you look at this and you see the tooling on the leather and the cover and the gold imprint, and this was just kind of an encyclopedia, but you start buying books like this, and even the ways, well, there's two things. One is the way that the materials are presented is different both linguistically and physically. And I think both of those are really important. Yeah. And so go to the one that's like, I don't know what the title is, but the crazy detail of the leather cover. And
this one? Crazy book detail?
Yeah. And so when you're flipping through old books and you look at something that's tooled and debossed and embossed, and if you think about how many steps it took just to make that cover, it's not even about the care of it as a craftsman. It's just the idea that the things that we take for granted, like now it's velocity. It's how fast can things download? What's our speed? All of that kind of stuff. And there was a different pride in tactile experience 100 years ago than there is now. I think the culture wasn't geared as much towards how cheaply and quickly you could get it, and more towards, would this be something that would have stability and resilience that would last me for decades? I remember someone saying to me that their mother had told them that they were too poor to buy cheap shoes. The idea being that they needed to buy shoes that were going to last for a decade, like nice leather shoes. And it's true. Like over time, you spend less money when you do the thing the right way. Do you want to show some of the books that you love that are in here?
I do.
And, we're doing this a little differently tonight. That's another thing that, we're trying to figure out about moving this into the Patreon instead of being live on YouTube. Part of it is the idea that with Facebook and YouTube, there's monetization. And with Patreon, you're paying $1 a month to get everything. We're not doing it as a money-making endeavor as much as it's just a way to be able to maintain the structure without ad revenue or anything like that. Oh, what books are these that you're reading, Chandra?
Mysteries of the Great Operas.
Well,
I love all of these bindings. The texture
mm-hmm.
of each of the different fabrics that are used is really big for me, and the weight of having it in your hands. Even a newer book, it's hard to replicate that feeling of holding knowledge, holding a story. There's just something about the smell.
Wait here. This is what it's like to hold knowledge. So the thing that I take away the most from these
I fell for that.
is I look at the book designs so much. And one of the things that, like the Great Operas one of the things I notice when I'm looking at this is how such a minimal use of color and shape can create such a compelling design. The chapters on plant life, it's not printed on paper and glued on. Those are, I mean, both of these, let me look, blue, yellow. So each of those two covers are 3 stamp books. You've got your dark blue, your light blue, your gold. And then the one on the right is really simple. That's just a 1 color stamp, but that's beautiful.
Yeah.
There's a picture in there of some poetry books that I'm holding. Why don't you pull that one up? And so what would happen is I would go to book sales, especially if it was more estate related. Like in Chicago, they had the Newberry Library book sales. No, the one where I'm holding the.
Oh, sorry, you're holding that.
Yes, David. There's going to be a picture of. Well, let's pull it up now because David just said it.
Okay.
Whichever you find first. The right there. There you go. We were saving these till the end, but yeah, this is a beautiful, beautiful example of these kind of design things that we're talking about. And they are running a campaign right now for Foolish Fish, which we do have some clips that unfortunately I didn't prepare in time for tonight, but we'll put those up on our YouTube in the next week to help promote this book because it's so beautiful. And yeah, so their books are great. I actually just placed an order for a few that should be here soon. And not only is the design for this new one that's coming out great. What? We are not the most organized today. But so Foolish Fish is a YouTube channel that is worth checking out. And he does a lot of discussions about new publications and primarily on content, but he does draw attention to when there's really beautiful bindings like what Black Letter Press does. And so let's pull up it's where I'm holding the spines. We took it up in the upstairs library. It's a couple poetry books. It's just the spines.
Here we go.
Yeah, that one. So this is what I'm, and there's the Di Magia, the Giordano Bruno in the left corner, my multiple copies. So this is probably how, I mean, it's like so many of these writers, this is how I discovered them, was that the binding themselves were so enchanting that I wanted to, to know what could have been contained in, you get these little, I don't know if this will show up, but, you get these beautiful little poetry books and,
showing up.
You want to know what's inside them. This doesn't have a great cover. This one kind of does. Is it Elizabeth Barrett Browning? But there's like a little engraving in the front. So, for me, that was always a big part of, the joy of books as a kid. And I remember when it was my first year of high school, and my parents had their budget for me for clothes for the year. And we were middle class, but it was, money was tight enough where it's like, this is what we're setting. And so I said to my mom, well, what if you give me the money in cash and then I'll take care of it? And she looked at me suspiciously, like, what are you talking about? And I said, well, like, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I'm going to spend half of the money to get clothes and then the rest to go buy books. And she was like, how are you going to do that? And what I would do is I would buy my clothes a size too big and just torque it with a belt and then grow into it.
That is adorable.
And then spend the remainder on books. And she said, if it was anything else, I would say no. But for books, I will say yes. What other stuff should we show out of these pictures? Are there any in there that you want to talk about?
Well,
that is not I don't think it's a first edition of William Morris. It's upstairs. Probably not, because I paid $0.25 for it. So I'm highly doubtful that that's what it was. Although it was probably 30 years ago. And that's one of the beautiful things about a lot of those book sales is that I remember I was buying a lot of like Byron and Shelley. And one of the things a book dealer friend of mine explained is, because if you buy a Shelley edition from 1900, that's like, an 84th printing. It's not anything that's of any value to a, bibliophile book dealer. But, to someone looking at these beautiful bindings, it's exquisite, so it was certainly a treasure for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, first editions are amazing, but you don't have to have a first edition to appreciate that old.
I do read a lot in the bathtub. I don't know how
that would be so unfortunate.
Yeah, we have a lot of Negovan first editions laying around the house, getting read in the bathtub.
Here, this book I found upstairs in the library. I want to.
Well, something that I do a lot, and I know Chandra does too, is we do we'll buy books based on the aesthetics. And this is one that I had picked up, and I don't remember where I found it, but it was the craziest level of density in printing. And it's a who's who in Los Angeles. So it's almost like a weird phone book, but it's pictures of different people. And it's like, James, Brinaldi is the president of the Rotary Society for...
It has some pictures of different locations in there too.
Oh, okay.
So,
and show the detail, but it's just a crazy book. And a lot of these I buy thinking, well, how could we recreate this with our publishing? And the answer 99 times out of 100 is you just can't. Le Pater was the closest that we came. But look at how this is a leather book. It's crazy how much detail and the way it's stamped and the way the coloring is stamped. And I mean, obviously it's worn away, but it's
so thick and dense.
The paper,
the cover,
book.
It's heavy.
Talk about like an H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh my gosh.
It's very cool. So, that's what Chandra reads by the fireplace at night. While she's reading her books on poison and herbology.
I do like plants.
Yeah. Let's see what else is in there. I can't believe we're 20 minutes in. I guess another one we could show. This is a book that's a pop-up book. Let's show the Skinner one.
Oh, okay.
Let's just go right into some of the Kickstarters. So I'm on the Kickstarter Advisory Council, and I'm really, really a fan of that platform, as anyone here who has bought our stuff knows. I love the idea of crowdfunding. I love the idea that creative people can be it's not even about the support for the creator. It's the idea that I think all the time about in any industry where there's so many, there are necessary people, whether it's a distribution or manufacturing person, but so many industries get very bloated with people that are kind of just taking the paycheck. The movie industry is the one that hugely comes to my mind. And the thing that has kind of happened with publishing is that so much of the bottom dropped out that the mainstream industry, I mean, I see books edited all the time that are just done terribly. Like the people that used to do that stuff well can't get paid enough to be there. There's zero motivation for any publisher to make a legitimately beautiful or interesting book. I mean, actually a really good thing to show, just as a little asterisk, we'll show this quickly. I think it's Barnes and Noble that puts these out, and I've seen them on everybody's bookshelf. And just kind of there. I know you guys have seen the Divine Comedy ones, the Ghost Stories, the Tesla one. There's a Lovecraft one that's great. I think they're doing a great job. They're printed beautifully. They're really solid. We've bought a bunch. They're a great gift book. They're super cheap because they're using really inexpensive materials and just printing a ton of them. But I like that they're kind of helping carry that aesthetic forward a little bit.
They're making it accessible.
Yeah.
To
a
$14.
I mean, they're, it's pricey. Maybe it's a $20 hardcover, but
it feels
feels
beautiful.
If I were 17 or something, I would feel like, I bought something that was substantial and cool. The Willows that was a Kickstarter.
Oh.
99% sure it was. Yes, that was a Kickstarter. Encyclopedia of Occultism was not a Kickstarter.
Too bad.
But so this last one that wasn't a Kickstarter, let's show the Proposition Press one.
Oh.
Just in terms of making cool books, it's the one with, it's the Skinner one, that one.
Here we go.
Yeah. And I'm mentioning Skinner not only because, Deshazia, they look great on a bookshelf. They're beautiful. I love them. Sean too. I mean, that's why I mentioned them, because it's one of those things.
Everybody has them, and they did a great job with them, and
we bought some
nice.
for Tommy, our kid, because he is cool, first of all. And we want him to appreciate aesthetics, because he kind of takes it for granted a little bit. He's like, Dad, why do you like all this old stuff? I was like, son.
Right in the heart.
But so the Skinner pop-up book. So Forrest, what you did miss was that we were talking about some of the occult books. Black Letter Press has one up on Kickstarter right now. It's for Denis Poisson, Foolish Fish. And you have to get it. He's wonderful. They're wonderful. It's a great book. It'll be worth your money. But so the Skinner pop-up book, this was not a Kickstarter. I really dig what this guy does, and I really like him a lot. A lot of people have tried to take that 1970s van art aesthetic and carry it forward. And he just reminds me of like the best of all the weird stuff that was just inappropriate and scary when I was a kid in comic books. And he's done some Kickstarters for some comic stuff that he's done. This is a pop-up book that is an H.P. Lovecraft, like Necronomicon. You look at those Lovecraftian monsters.
It's just so beautifully crafted.
I just like what he did. I like what he does. It's very weird. Certainly not for everybody, but he's got a stop motion movie up right now on Kickstarter. That's why I wanted to show that book. Like it's, people are like, you like Art Nouveau. Why do you like this? It's just whenever anybody does anything, it doesn't matter if it's modernist design or psychedelia or anything. Like if the part of me that has that like razor focus of something being exceptional, if somebody is really consistently extraordinary at what they do, it's hard to not get turned on by that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's like simple modernism or, you know, or something as crazy as this guy. He's a complete nutball. I love him though. But yeah, Forrest, it's so cool. It's his stop motion thing looks great. And he's a really, really cool guy. And so let's show, I don't know if any of you are familiar with, let's show real quick the Harrison Cady book.
Okay.
Just because, so this is one, so this publisher is Beehive Books. This is another publisher that I really, really like their work. And you can kind of see in the photo, we did the photos because when you hold stuff up, it's kind of hard to see lower resolution, but they do a lot of detail with the stamping. Their end papers are just beautiful. I don't know if you can see the foil stamping. And I will say that they are, gosh, when it comes to Kickstarter stuff, I think that they're probably, you know, I remember like when Prince talked about Morris Day and the Time, and the joke was like they were the only band that intimidated him. Like when I look at their books, they're the ones that when I look at the quality of the images that they source, the way that they do their binding, the way that their design is so meticulous.
Yes.
I think that, you know, we do some lower end books and then we've got our higher end books, but I think that they're really, really consistently extraordinary. Like I think that they're probably, aside from some of the people that are doing letterpress work, I think for mass manufactured books, I think they actually make the best books that I've seen on Kickstarter.
Consistently.
Yeah.
That's
So I
really
hate to
good.
throw us under the bus.
Century Guild books are pretty great, I have to say.
I don't
you
think I know
very
Strange
much.
Attractor Press. 3 hours ago. All right, I'll look this up. Maybe I've seen it and it just wasn't something that I was into, but that's really funny. Yeah. And so then the last Kickstarter people to talk about, let's pull up the spines on the bookshelf. I have an entire section for this. Yeah, that one.
This one?
Yeah. And then we'll do the all spines. And so I really dig the aesthetics of, oh my God, what am I trying? What's the name of the company? I'm sorry.
Those
I can't
guys.
believe it. Oh, wait, it is Beehive. Wait, is there? That's Beehive. This is so crazy to me. Was I not even? You can tell that like my head is in ancient Rome. Is this Beehive too? Oh my God. Well, all right. So Beehive takes the first and
Yeah.
second
make
place
beautiful
slots.
I'm a fan.
Yeah. So the Beehive books are just incredible. They're really beautiful. And I haven't really interacted with them. They seem very nice, but we've just never been able to connect. But I think they came on my radar because they did a book with Dave McKean, who we do a lot with and who I love as a human being. And so one of the things that they've done with this series of classic literature that I'm really liking is, well, first of all, show the spines. So their sense of design has got, they definitely have a modernist, that one, yeah, that like sensibility that's, it reminds me of some of the best design of the 50s and 60s. But it's very, very modern. It's super, super contemporary. Zagava Press, which I'm going to say wrong, I would absolutely agree with. They did an incredible first issue of Der Okadine Garden, where they made a facsimile of the magazine. And it's on higher quality paper, like it doesn't feel newsprinty, but the detail in which they approached making sure that all of the academic information was available was impeccable. And so then show like the cover of the Bill Sienkiewicz. He did Island of Dr. Moreau, and Bill Sienkiewicz, of course, is another. It's the maybe I didn't do it. Maybe I took the picture and never.
I know the
I
light was
didn't.
getting
Okay.
kind of low, but
So
it's over here.
Go to the I don't know if it'll show up. So here's the cover, and if like you see the amazing detail and then the cutout cover, and then show the letter. The thing that they did that I really like is something that you would see a lot in books around 1910, especially, where they do something where they'll pick a color that is not like your standard CMYK color in these books, and they'll use it then as a secondary color. In this one, it was this beautiful red. So there's just a density that they're able to get with their presentation that reminds me so much of like if you see like a really great book from the colophon or some of those book organizations from the 1920s. And Beehive I don't think you have a Kickstarter right now, but they're always good to mention. But Blackletter Press and Skinner are the two that do. Here's our DiMaggio. And then what else? What other pictures are in there that are interesting?
Let's see.
Another thing, I mean, you could show this one. Those are really, oh, yeah. What's the, oh, hi, Michael. So go to, what are you doing?
What do you want me to do?
Open let's see what images we didn't show yet. We showed all those. I mean, show those spines.
Yes.
Yeah, just because that's kind of funny. So one of the things that happens, like when you're digging through bookshelves at an antique mall or things like that, is you will find like The Haunted Hour, a book of poetry, and then Other Worlds Than Ours. It's a metaphysical book. Crystal Gazing. That's really fascinating. Sterilization for Human Betterment. So the thing I was going to joke about, comment on, is so much of buying these books, you're looking at the way the materials presented these ideas differently. You're also reading vernacular that's very different, the way they're speaking. And so things like, we can go to a positive one after this because but to land the joke, sometimes the book you pull out is just this theoretical idea about maybe we should be sterilizing criminals. And apparently that was a subject people talked about quite a lot in the 1920s. But show the best version of you or something that I would find a lot of.
Me too, David. Me too.
I rub old books on myself all the time. A lot of great philosophical books that are kind of slightly religious, but a lot of there was a big era of kind of personal self-help type things. That's the one right there on the right.
Which one?
Down.
This?
Right there. Yeah. So this is an example of one that I bought just because what a great cover with that impressed leather, but then it's got this heavy gold. It's not even a foil stamping. It's like this dense lead ink, and it looks, because of the stamping, it looks like a bronze. It looks like it's got bronze on it.
It does. It looks like a plate.
but it's just a beautiful, thing about they're poems, but they're all kind of little adages about like being a
Was
good
that from 1924?
being a good member of your community. And
The poem in the beginning was very cute.
it's like Dr. Seuss self-help. If you can't be a highway, then just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. For it isn't by size that you win or you fail. Be the best of whatever you are. By Douglas Mallock, author of Little Hop Skipper, Tote Road and Trail, Come On Home, etc. So yeah, I don't know, 1926. But yeah, I love it. I love it. And very quaint and great ideas. And the funny thing, great, you said about these gorgeous pieces. Like, I mean, most of these were less than $5. Go to antique malls, go to,
Library bookshops.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that, it's a little too rickety. We can't put this on the shelves, but they're great old books. And are there any other pictures that we should show? And so if you weren't here right at the beginning, the reason that we kind of thought about books tonight is because of this initiative that we're starting. It's something that we're going to run through our Patreon, but we're doing Think and Read. And we are...
Look at John commented on the book that I wanted
Oh
to talk
my
about.
God, we didn't get it, did we?
We couldn't find it. I think there are many books in our collection that are still in boxes and have not been unpacked yet because we don't have enough. It's probably triple blanket wrapped.
I wrapped that thing like it was going to be thrown against a wall. Okay, hands down, the most beautiful book that we've ever purchased on Kickstarter, and quite possibly the finest presentation of any modern book that we've purchased, is Johann Lossel, Forgotten Gods. I'm not saying this because I wrote a chapter of it. I'm saying it because he works in a medium that has a layer of gold gilt that he applies. And the only time I've seen this done, certainly done well, is in the Gustav Klimt plates from the turn of the century. They used a gold layer in the book, and so all of his artworks reproduce beautifully. And the captures are great. The texture of the paper makes sense. I bought a book recently where the end papers reproduced one of the images on matte paper. It looked just like the way the art should have looked, what it looked like in real life. And then you get to the inside and it's all glossy paper and there's no varnish on it. It just was like, I'm like, this is just a cheap.
Disappointing.
I mean, we don't want to, I want people to make books. So I don't want to complain about that as much as celebrate.
When people make an exceptional book and
Johann's crazy too, man.
God.
He lives in the
every
woods.
single detail of that book
was
thought about carefully and purposefully done. I love it.
I mean, this is a guy who probably combs his mustache.
I would assume.
I'm just saying, like, this is a guy that is his attention to detail is impeccable. So we don't have an image of it, but look up Johann, Yoann, Lossel, Lossel, Forgotten Gods. He is
here, look, Kat put a link.
He is a wonderful human being. That's another big thing for me as I accept adulthood. It's like my tolerance for people that are just not good people has really gone out the window.
Yeah.
And so the people who I find really talented, who then also have that bonus of just being really generous, kind, encouraging, and what's the word? Devoted to their relationship with themselves as an artist, from a place of exploration and aspiration rather than ego, I think would be the way that I would put it. I'm finding those people consistently inspiring. And Dave McKean has always been one. And of course, then when you meet people like Bill Sienkiewicz, they stand out in that way for sure. But in terms of the books that we're talking about, that's why I'm so inspired by Foolish Fish. That's why I'm so inspired by Skinner. That is why I'm incredibly inspired by Johan Lossel. So I can't recommend that book highly enough. But yeah, so we don't have that image. But I totally forgot when we were upstairs. I do think I unpacked it, which is even worse. I think we'll find it as soon as we're done.
I've looked on every shelf twice.
I think I do. I just think it might be in my office.
You put it somewhere secret so that I couldn't.
Because I got a copy for Johnny. I got a copy for Johnny, and I was looking at mine.
Now the truth comes out.
But I think, is that all that we have in our pictures?
Yeah, that was all the images that we have.
Do I have any of Dave's folio editions? I have the Beehive Books one for Crime and Punishment. And to be honest, a lot of the other ones I can't really afford to get. I like to read the books, and I saw the Gormenghast ones that he did, but they were so expensive, and I thought, I'm going to be afraid to touch it.
Yeah, that's a problem.
So I kind of, I'm in a weird place where, like, I definitely see a lot of people that love bibliophile editions that will spend huge amounts of money on them. And I do respect that. But here's a great example. Like, even with the Foolish Fish, I love the book design for what they're doing for his. There is a beautiful edition that's going to have marbled cover wrapping and stuff like that. But I think, like, I'd be afraid to, like, get my, oily fingers on it and ruin it. Like, so with this, even, it's beautiful, and I feel like it's a work of art, but I don't feel like, I feel like it's like, like jeans or boots or something.
It's sturdy, and it can be interacted with. It can be which is something that's really important for a book, that, people feel like they can pick it up, even if it is big and beautiful and impressive looking.
One of the other things in one of these pictures is, pull up the picture of these. Is it's funny, like, man, talk about making learning fun. All of these books that are like encyclopedia type things. I mean, look at the design of this, and then you're reading it, and it's like, I had no idea. I was so interested in
variations in
plants, but I would have been had I had that. Well, actually, I was, because I did. I flipped through that stuff. I read a little bit. I actually don't read all of them, to be honest. I kind of.
There's only so much time in the day
for design. I do flip through them. I've got like, I have some funny ones. Are there any other pictures or anything? Well, let's show the think and read thing again.
Okay.
So one of the things about this is we're still kind of working a lot of this out. One of the things that we're going to do is, so the way that the Patreon is going to go is that we're going to be posting. What'd you say?
I saw David's comment. And
oh yeah,
I was just earlier last week looking at the first editions of The Secret Garden, just looking. And there was one, I think it was the first American edition, that somebody had listed, and in the front cover, there was in big scrawling pencil letters, "This is a good book." And it was definitely written by a child. And it was, I think that edition was from 1913, maybe.
Yeah.
But it was just so great. And I've never wanted a book more badly in my life, but I didn't get it.
I have a book. It's Austrian poster art. Austrischist, I can't say it. A Plakatkunst, and it's 1913. And the copy that I have belonged to the man who wrote it, because in it, over the years, he made notations on things that he learned later might have not been accurate. And so that's one that I really, so there's like the inside the book is the press release and all of that stuff, but also there's his personal notes.
That's a treasure.
And there's all kinds of writing in the front cover. And again, it's like, page 32, it wasn't really 1911. It was 1907 or something, or things like that. So I really dig that. I thought that was really cool. And then I've got another one, Sinful Cities of the Western World, which is great.
That's a good one.
But one of the copies I have, it was like, I can't remember. It was so long ago.
Somebody wrote in it, city wasn't actually sinful. Not enough
No,
sin.
It was like, it was like his wife's copy or something. I wish I could. I'm going to get the anecdote's pointless because I don't remember. The point is it had personal stuff in there, like laid in, like aside from the signature, there was like a funeral card for someone in the family, stuff like that. David Haas. I don't know. That sounds really cool. I don't know what that is, but I want to know.
Here.
Yeah, I know that's what I'm saying, but it's like, I don't know. That's sounds really cool. I'd love to see that. But anyway, so the reason that we're kind of taking this to Patreon again is that this is not meant to be like a way to squeeze $12 a year out of people. It's meant to be that we feel like it's like there's so many things with algorithms and all of that you're constantly battling. There's also the idea of you can kind of, I think, have a better conversation if everybody wants to be there. And so things like Facebook, there's a lot of just drive-by scrolling and then weird, random, crappy comments. And just, it's not, we're trying to just make it where we can kind of nurture the community a little bit. And I don't know if anybody else has been in this zone, but I've been trying to be more mindful with my relationship to the internet in terms of there are some film groups or different audio recording groups that are off of Facebook that I will go to. And I know that before Facebook, that would be where they were, and they kind of dried up. And then I feel like, I remember when this company called Ocean opened up, and actually the same company that did this is Best Buy, and this is a better example. There was Rose Records in the mall near where I grew up. And Best Buy made all their new releases like $11.79, but most stores had them for $13.99. And what they were doing is they were pricing it as a loss leader, where Rose Records couldn't sell it for that price. Like their cost was too high. But the reason that Best Buy was doing it was because you would come in and then maybe you pick something else up, a pair of headphones or whatever. They figured they would make it up. But the real strategy was that it would put all these smaller stores out of business.
So disgusting.
It worked. And it worked. There's no Tower Records anymore. There's no Rose Records anymore. But so that's kind of what's happening with these bulletin boards. Not that it's a money thing, but everything feeds into places like Facebook. Well, then it becomes monetized and everybody complains about Instagram and Facebook. And think about what you see in your feed now. It's more sponsored posts than it is posts by people that you friended in your first year being on there, because it skews towards the newest people, because new friends must be exciting. And I think about that all the time. Like, I wonder what this guy's up to. And I look, and there's been a year of posts that I just didn't see. So for 99.9% of people, this Patreon thing is not going to work. It's not convenient enough. It's not effortless. It's not in the flow of what you're already doing. And so I'm okay with that. I think that the thing that we want to do is take maybe the excitement that you might have had when you were a kid and you had your decoder ring or whatever it is. I don't know what girls had. Did you have decoder rings?
I mean, I didn't have anything.
I'm also like not that. 80 years old. I didn't have that either. But, you know, like, you know, just the idea of...
I had books. I had a lot of books.
You did? Yeah. What kind of books?
I mean, they were mostly like...
Anne Rampling? Charlotte Rampling? Cat just yelled duh from the other. So the point is just that there's going to be a Discord attached to it. Again, we're working a lot of this out, but the idea is two things. One, that we want to have more book discussions. We also want people to be able to kind of interact more with each other than we are able to in this format. I don't mind being here at all, but I really, really wish that everybody else was in the room, because
so I want like each other.
Somebody, and I forgive me, David, I don't know you, but like when you mentioned that book, I'm like, where is this? Like, I want you to be here with this book, like, and we can be reading it and, you know, getting excited about it. So that's kind of the hope, is that we can just kind of, you know, I've never been thinking of any of this in terms of, like most of the time when you're looking at building a community, it's kind of one of two things. Either it's somebody who wants to just talk every day about what's happening in their life, or it's someone who kind of doesn't want to talk about themselves at all, but wants to be of service in a certain way. And so it's been really hard, because I love to talk. And, you know, we're super excited about the things that we're doing, like Le Pater and the other stuff. And so our energy's really gone into the things that we want to make. And I just, you know, I guess I've just been, and so the point of this passport thing, and it took forever to get the printing right and find the right materials. That's what took so long. We were going to start this over a year ago, but we couldn't find someone who could make it look like an old real passport. It's foil stamped. It's like a faux leather cover. And they're free. You know, if you're in the Patreon, we'll send it to you with your next order. And then whether it's if you show up at an oddities show and we've got an ink stamp, or, you know, you're in and we do, like, you know, the first one we're sending out is the Mucha Le Pater stamp, the postage stamp thing. My hope is that 10 years from now, that it becomes something that's kind of like it is a passport, where you go back and you think, God, I remember reading this book, and I remember this, and I remember going to this event. And of course, because it's our stuff, we're going to be promoting a Mucha book, or we're going to be promoting an oddities event where we are. But I'm hoping too that then you'll remember, oh, you know, yeah, that was the summer that this happened, or, you know, this kind of stuff. So it's just kind of, I think it's just in this ephemeral and fast fashion and quick culture world that we live in, we're just trying to do something that I don't want to say slows it down, because it's not about that. I think just mindfulness. That's the point of think and read. What's the back cover quote? You don't have to burn books to destroy a culture, just get people to stop reading them. And that's Ray Bradbury. And I do think the inspiration to this probably was slightly political, like just thinking about culturally, like, where are we going? Like, where people, you know, are getting as TikTok, you know, like how fast can we get information through? And it's like, man, like, what's wrong with just sitting for a couple hours and, you know, picking up a book like this, like Science at Work? Like, I would pick it up and I mean, I know more about animal husbandry than I probably ever thought I would. Like just because of, yeah. I mean, it's obviously it's, Twitch and TikTok have taken the distraction of television kind of to a completely new level. But anyway, so that's the point. So a lot of the stuff that we're doing, I don't know, we may stop doing these. It may be that there's still going to be the first Thursday, but it may be something that you access through the Patreon. And that then we just post clips of it later. We're still kind of working that out. Do you think you'll be doing stamps for backers of past books and posters or just going forward? We will be doing them for past ones. The thing that we're kind of looking at is at this moment, the first one is the Le Pater. When we have it, we found a great printer that can make.
Oh, they're so good. Portland Stamp Company.
Portland Stamp Company. We like them a lot. I think the next one is going to be for the Jugendstil book because that's going to be our next campaign. But then when we don't have one, and most of the stamps will be smaller. The idea is that, yeah, you're supposed to put them in there and play with it. The Mucha one is big. It's kind of a joke because the book is so big. And then we haven't sorted a lot of that out. A lot of this is kind of, I think, things we're hoping will come up in the conversations with people. But the answer to your question is yes.
Yes, that's kind of the point, is that, here we're just talking to each other. And, I know what stamps I want to make, but using the Patreon, using Discord, we can talk about it. Like, what stamps would you like to see? Like,
originally we talked about doing these things as book discussions, but then it became really clear really quickly that it was just kind of like me and Kat talking about the book. And the thing that I was hoping was that it would just be, if enough people were interested, that like, if we've got, I mean, I'm looking at posters that are here, I'm not going to drag them in, but if someone's looking at Beautiful Macabre or Infernal Creatures, and they're like, wow, this is really crazy. Where did you find this? Why do you like it? This is one that I really love. I'm curious what you see in it. This is one I don't like, but I kind of trust your taste. What are you seeing in this that I'm not? I may say, you're totally right. That is a terrible poster, but I find this really interesting. And that's why I thought, so I don't know, like those are things.
For the Passport Club, to be clear, when you subscribe to the Patreon for $1, and with your, the next Kickstarter shipment we send you, or whatever the next shipment is, will include the passport and the first stamp. Everybody gets the Le Pater stamp, even if you don't own the book.
Yeah.
So when we make a Beautiful Macabre stamp, if you don't own the book, you'll still get the stamp, but you should get the book because it's going to be great.
My vote was that you wouldn't get it unless you own the book.
I know, but I overruled that. Everyone gets a stamp.
So there you go. But so that's it. So we're at our hour. So Chandra will be very active in the Patreon. We'll still keep posting as we can in Facebook or on Facebook and on Instagram. And the idea is just to do more of this, like we're doing here, but in a much more focused way, like less work. Like you see how hard it is when we have to kind of work the computer as well. And so there'll be a lot less of that and more, more direct interaction kind of things. And then also, when it's on Discord or in the chats beneath, then we can kind of, be chatting.
Well, and that's
easier.
Discord will make it incredibly easy to have the next best thing to being in a room together.
But maybe, I don't know, maybe do something because, I see that someone, I'm not going to name any names, only has Le Pater. Like maybe you should do something where, maybe there's a discount for people coming in, if there's any books that we've published that they don't own,
totally
like a 20% discount or something, just as just to help like the first month that people are in or something to
I totally do that. Yeah.
To let them get anything that seemed interesting. There you go.
That's a good idea. That's why you're the boss.
I got all kinds. Well, thank you guys for being here. And thank you, Chandra.
Thanks, Tom.
For sitting in tonight.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you, Brandon and Kat.
You're welcome.
And we will see. There's 2 Century Guilds. Are you on there too, Brandon, right now?
Thanks, David.
You never know. HP Lovecraft Society does a lot of that kind of stuff.
Sean. I like that a lot.
And so we one thing that we are going to do, date for launch for the thing, yesterday, March 1st, it started. Patreon.com/Thomas Negovan.
We'll put the link in the description.
Okay. Yeah, patreon.com/Thomas Negovan. And one thing that I do want to do is I do want to retire stamps. I do want it to be where the people that are in now, that if someone comes in 3 years from now, that they'll be like,
thanks to Shawty.
How did you
yeah, well, I agree. There should be like a founding member stamp that has a really great image on it. And then, there's a certain cutoff date. And then, it's super cool.
Maybe it could be like a picture of my face. It could be I could be like a Rodin sculpture. What do you think?
I mean, I'd collect it.
When first next month. These salons are always first Thursday of every month. Always. Same time.
We'll be here.
Even when we're traveling, we've made sure that we'll be here at this time.
They're
for
very
everybody.
dedicated.
But at some point, I would like for them to move under the Patreon, but I don't know how we're going to do that yet or whatever.
That's just potential future stuff.
Yes.
And we will definitely let people know when something is changing up. Until then, we're going to be here on the first Thursday of every month.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. And we will see you in Patreon this week.
Awesome.
All right. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Now, do I do this?
I don't know. Now we got to figure out how to leave what do you do, Kat? How do we do our little video at the end?